the PNUP president, Mr. Hamududu. He is our guest this morning, and we are looking at national issues affecting things around fuel, millennial prices, and also the cost of living. And remember, we are live on our Facebook page. For Facebook, it is RCV News. RCV News is a platform, of course, where we do post everything current affairs. So come through and let's get interactive. Then the number is 0956 200 490, 0956 200 490. Later on, we shall open the phone lines and give an opportunity to call in. For now, you can send your text messages to that number. Thank you so much to everybody that has already sent their text messages, and also our Facebook viewers. Thank you so much. Great to know that you are watching and are following the program. All right, let's get back to our conversation with the president of the PNUP, and we just talked about how the party is doing, and you've just given us a clear roadmap of where you're going. But now let's narrow it down to the household and issues affecting Zambians. And of course, Zambians want to get your opinion on what you make of certain things that have been affecting them. And one funny issue really that's been affecting the Zambians is the price of fuel, the cost of fuel. Now this is something that ultimately affects everything. It does affect even households, even people without cars. At some point they'll have to get on a bus. Bus fares are high. At some point they'll have to get food and whatnot. So we'd just like to get really your opinion on what you make of the current fuel prices that are obtaining on the market. Maybe we start from there.
Sure. The cost of fuel is a big issue. It's a big topic. Just like the name itself, fuel fuels the economy. I think that's where even the word comes from. Because this is oil. It's called fuel because it powers the economy. It fuels
the economy. Something.
So every aspect of our life is affected by the fuel prices. You don't need to own a car because fuel is the main input in the production processes. Here where you are, you came with a vehicle, okay? I'm sure you took, in the morning, you took bread. For the bread to be made, fuel was involved.
Transportation and whatnot.
Exactly. And it is married to the actual fuel from oil and the electricity. These are the main inputs to production processes. And when the cost of fuel and electricity are high, it leads to a spiral effect of other prices. And it goes without saying. Now, as I said at the beginning, the fuel prices are principally determined by two elements. There are other elements. Of course, we are a landlocked country, and therefore, to move fuel into Zambia is quite expensive. And that's why, in the wisdom of Dr. Kaunda, he had to put the Tazama pipeline so that you can pump fuel from Dar es Salaam. And I was privileged when I was in Parliament to visit the pump station in some island of the port of Dar es Salaam. Oh, yeah. Those counters were, oh my goodness, UNIP, I salute you. If there's any former UNIP member, I salute you guys. You meant well. By the way, of all political parties to date, all the parties that rode, no one has come near the performance of UNIP. Small budget.
Why do you say so?
True patriots. I mean, what have other people done? Go to Cairo Road. All those buildings were built under UNIP. Today, the only skylines you see are skylines built by Chinese. I'm talking just as skylines. The construction of real towns. Just tumbashi, all these disorganized things came after the three governments that came through after UNIP. So, fuel prices is determined by principally two elements.
Before you get to those two elements, are you also surprised of how high they are, especially in this current regime that promised so much before the elections?
And I'll tell you one of the drivers to this high fuel prices. There has been a little spike in the global fuel prices, but later on some stability. You remember Some of the key players in the oil production have been affected. The Russia-Ukraine war has destabilized the fuel prices because Russia is one of the key oil producers, and that war has drawn other countries. Really, the Russia-Ukraine war is a mini third world war. Really, a mini third world war. It has destabilized the global economy and touched on the issue of fuel. So there had been that initial spike due to the war, but then afterwards there's some stability. But then the other aspect which affects the landed cost of fuel here has been the exchange rate. Now the exchange rate is what is now biting us more than the international fuel prices, because there has been stability. Yes, we haven't had such a big spike in the last few months or few years in the oil prices, international oil prices. So that is fine. But then the exchange rate. Now, our exchange rate also is determined by a few factors and affected by a few factors. One of it is that historically this economy was, in terms of at the macro level, was built around copper. So the value of our currency, right from the pound and into the kwacha, its strength has been coming from copper. Remember, our modern economy began from copper production. The whole road network, the first road nerve, and the railway link from South Africa through Zimbabwe was basically into the copper belt, and principally to move copper. So copper founded the strength of our currency. You know, a currency must have a strength behind it. Okay, that's why other currencies have a gold standard. Actual gold, ours has been copper. So the more we exported copper, the more our currency was strong, because then we had inflow of dollars. Of dollars. So through exports. So the main exports has been copper, and that has not changed in our 59 years of our independence, and even pre-independence.
It's always been copper.
Take it 100 years of our Zambia. Okay, more than 100 years. Our currency has been supported by copper exports. So every time we have a downturn in copper exports, either reduced production or the fall in copper prices, like it has happened in many periods of our economy, is that we have little supply of forex, inflow of forex, while we are importing many things. Now at the moment, Zambia's copper production has gone down. In the last few years, the copper production has gone down. The numbers are there. Principally because the two key mines have not been producing. The biggest mine in this country, inherently, is KCM, which has the biggest copper assets. And then we have Mopani. So we have now the big, before we used to have the big four, then the big five. So Mopani, KCM, Kansanshi, in Sorezi, then we had the Lumwana, and then Kalumbila. Now we have Lubambe. Yeah, we are almost reaching now the big seven, big six. Now the big two are not operational, by and large. And the mining sector gives us about 75% of our foreign exchange. Now the two big mines, Mopani and KCA, constitute almost 40% of the 75%. So from this number, and then secondly, and it's shown, the copper production has gone down because the big guys are not operational. Secondly, because of that, our forex inflows has come down. So just check the numbers. Copper production has come down. By now, we should have been hitting over 1 million, metric tons per year. Now it's coming down below 800, and therefore we are having. So it's a demand and supply issue. Once you don't have enough forex coming in, your kwacha will be under pressure. The next risk, of course, is the huge debt. Although we haven't been servicing debt by and large, because since we went in a technical default. But when we conclude the debt restructuring,
we'll start.
Debt servicing will start. And therefore there will be pressure, and the debt servicing at a high exchange rate will have such a huge pressure on the exchange.
So in other terms, the worst is yet to come.
Yes, and we must make very painful decisions as a country. One of it is that Apart from debt restructuring, government should have been very speedy, very quick to resolve the Mopani and KCM. Now, 2.5 years down the line, that's when we are seeing hope of resolution. So I think government has been very slow to resolve the legacy problems, because Zambians, even on the Copper Belt, they voted by and large for change of government because
they wanted those
things to be unlocked. Now, the new government has taken over half of their term in office,
trying to resolve the issue.
So there should have been enough speed to resolving.
So for that one, it's on them. They
exactly.
took too long.
Yes, they should have resolved, because they should have understood that the key thing, the key elements to strengthening our kwacha, which has an impact on the fuel and the cost of living, is the two mines. So the KCM and the Mopani, they have such an impact for the cost of living, including for an old woman in Karingaringa.
Yeah, because I just want to ask a question that many Zambians, as we say, look, yes, we are talking about copper, but look, there's been sugilite that's been discovered. There's been emeralds. We're now hearing that
we'll come to that.
There are those reports. Yeah,
we'll come to that.
But the question is, why do we always talk about copper when there are these other minerals?
Yes, no. Copper, we still need it. It's our mineral.
Yeah.
We need to increase production. We need to increase our benefits.
It's
from
our
there.
P1.
Yes, and while we are also, fighting and doing the right thing to have the right benefits from emeralds. Emeralds is just second to diamonds. But we made mistakes as a country. As this country, we made mistakes. When UNIP left, we sold off the mines to foreign ownership. We went too far. Our party is called the center party in terms of policy position. We don't believe in extremes, either to the left or the right. If you checked on our Facebook, we are a centrist party, we are a center party, we are a moderate party. Because extremes have costs. UNIP went to the extreme of taking over the mines, and the mines were abused. But of course, there are more benefits. Zambians benefited in terms of employment. We had better towns on the copper belt, and the government had leverages, on their copper. But the excessive ownership created itself a downside where mines, through political patronage, were abused. Come MMD, they went to the other extreme and gave foreign ownership. Another big mistake. The foreigners, those who own mines, have benefited more than the country.
Those are the mistakes we made as a nation.
And therefore, what we should have done was to co-own the mines on a 50-50 joint venture. That's what Botswana did on their diamond mines. In the diamond mines, the government of Botswana and the Bears have a 50-50 shareholding in Botswana, a joint venture of 50-50. Now they are fighting for marketing, where the government of Botswana wants to have also a bigger share in the marketing. They've just won now a new initiative where 30% of diamonds will be sold, marketed by a Botswana entity. And that will have a ripple effect. So I just wanted to explain that. That's why these things must be methodical. You must understand the root cause. You can't just treat a person when he goes to the hospital. An economy is like a human body. When it is sick, you must do the right diagnosis. The high temperature is caused by something else. So if you go to the hospital and they treat you just for the temperature and give you Panadol, they will have killed you because that was just a symptom than the cause. So we must go to the causation. I've just told you now here, one of the key things at the moment that is putting pressure on the kwacha is that our main supplier of forex, which is our traditional supply, which is copper exports, is not doing fine. We don't have enough receipts. The production has gone down, and therefore we have little foreign exchange. I can tell you today, if we had reached 1 million tons exports of copper per annum, our kwacha could have been stronger. There are also consequential issues about the banking of the money, that when you sell your copper, keep your receipts here. Those are issues we can deal with. But the fundamental issue is the increased production. Then touching on the other minerals, emeralds,
very brief,
sugilite, and so on. One other issue is the ownership. There's too much plundering going on in these minerals. The foreigners are now making Zambia a playground in our diamond resources, in our gold resources, like Kasensele. Now we are hearing in Imombwa here, in Rufunsa,
Do you think that's down to lack of leadership?
A country must put legislation so that these minerals benefit the country. We're not saying we don't want investors. We need investors. We have the minerals, they have the money. So they bring the money, we have the minerals, and we make a joint venture. How can these chaps who don't bring, do they bring copper here and gold and sugar? It's ours. That's our contribution. So how dare we give these guys 100% ownership?
But why do you think we fall into that trap?
That's what this parliament must be doing, and the government. They must put the legislation in that parliament to ensure that as a basic minimum, any new mine government through this IH, which is our company Zambians, we must have 50%. We can pass legislation there.
Do you think we're brave enough to go that route?
No, it's not even about what brave. We have a parliament, just pass the law and it happens.
But why haven't they passed it all this while? We've been waiting for them to pass laws such as this one.
Yeah, but those are the policy position. I'm just telling you our policy position. If we are in government, immediately we'll pass legislation to ensure that any new mine will have 50% ownership. We will start from actual exploration license. As we give you an exploration license, we have the land, you have the money for exploration. Throughout here, you discover the minerals, our minerals which are in the belly of our earth, then you have 50. That's our contribution. You discover minerals in our womb, and you are saying it's yours. How? You are a doctor, you come and examine my wife, and they find that there is a child there. It's my child. So you cannot say that is your child. This copper, this sugilite is our baby. God gave us. How dare we give 100% to foreigners?
So we need more legislation.
So we are not saying we don't want investors. We want investors. But let there be a 50-50 beneficiation between the foreigners and let me tell you, in manganese, in sugilite, in now emerging gold, emeralds, it's a joke what's happening. This is plundering and theft by foreigners. So let's put legislation that the foreigners still benefit and we must equally benefit. By the way, minerals are a wasting asset. Once they finish under the belly of the earth, then you are done. And you remain poorer than you were before.
Yeah, I know you said about how that you don't want to judge, other political parties. But is it safe to say that
there are options here?
Yeah.
So
do you think the UPND have
there are options
on this one?
Vote for us. So why you want to talk about UPND? Vote for us. That's why there are elections. This thing of fighting each other. That's why people now judge. Okay, fine. Now we choose this one. The elections, why they come after 5 years, is for you to make a change, and you put the one who meets your aspiration. Okay. There is no need to start fighting. Let me tell you, my brother. Yeah. Even in football, you don't need to start fighting in the pitch. Just to score. If you lose, let's have another match. There is an AFCON every how many? 2 years. 2 years. Yeah. There are elections after 5 years.
Yeah.
So that is the UPND's policies.
Okay.
And they won elections.
Yeah.
So you Zambian people, make a judgment.
Okay. Because of time, we'll have to really wrap up on the fuel issue.
Yeah.
So if I got you clearly, in short, you're trying to say that the fuel prices, we cannot really blame the UPND. It's because of other external factors. Yeah, so is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's one of the ways to bring. One of the easiest way here could have. These games in sugilite must stop. We have a mining wing as a country because this same IH, they must be involved in any new mining project. We must have. So even the whole issuance of the first license for mining, by the way, for you to go into mining, the first paper you get is called exploration license. Put legislation that immediately is 50-50. Because exploration license is owned by a company. So any company that wants, whether it's a foreigner, wants to go into exploration, 50%. We have the land, you have the money. Can we explore? We find something?
It's 50% yours, is 50% ours.
Yes. What did the Botswana put in diamond mines, in Botswana? What did they put? I'm asking. Because people say, no, but mining is expensive. What did the Botswana? It was a very poor country.
They talk about capacity.
It was so poor. Botswana was so poor, the poorest country in Africa, in Southern Africa. Not only in the world, one of the poorest. What did they put in Botswana? They had the diamonds. The Bears did the exploration and then the 50%. That's what you do. It's legislation.
So subsidy.
So we must stop.
We
must stop this corrupt legislation in that parliament. You people must begin to speak to your members of parliament that you are not going there to drink tea and drive big cars. you have a solemn duty to pass laws that defend us. That's why we send you there. You're not there for your party, you are there for Zambian people. If you're a member of parliament for Kanyama, you are there for over 130,000 voters. So that you can have money to deal with the drainage in Kanyama. People are living in filth. They are living in fecal matter. And yet we have copper. What legislation are you putting there? What budget are you approving? People are busy traveling for useless trips. I know the travel budget of members of parliament, permanent secretaries, ministers for useless trips. Just travel budget, you can deal with all these drainage issues and there will be no cholera. And we are killing people here because we are careless. Let's put our money where it matters, my friend. So let me tell you the key reforms which the UPND should have undertaken when they came in if they had diagnosed our problem.
Very quickly.
One, debt restructuring, because that was a problem. Okay? They are doing some, we could call some reasonable work there. Because we must also recognize where they are doing something. Two, they should have done public sector reforms because this government is spending money on its public service, on the wage bill, than to deliver service. Three, government should have resolved the issue of mining, which gives us the forex, which has an impact on the cost of fuel and therefore the cost of living. These should have been diagnosed before they went into government and should have been P1. Let me tell you, this public sector wage and public spending is sickening. We need public sector reforms. So these three pillars should have been dealt with together. Debt restructuring, public sector reforms to avoid this bleeding of resources by the bureaucrats at the expense of service delivery. Look at the roads in this country. The roads under UNIP, when we had a smaller budget, they were better maintained. Today we have more money. We have all these CDFs and all these manner of things, but the roads are becoming poorer and poorer. Okay? And locking these big assets to benefit the country. Just these three, if UPND had diagnosed the problem, by now, today we're going to say, okay, now we have a government. Now time is running out from them, on them because they did not start from day one. They only overdrove on debt restructuring. But you didn't need debt restructuring to do public sector reforms. You didn't need the debt restructuring. You didn't need IMF. UPND has borrowed already over $1 billion. The money has gone to support the same abuse. Public sector wage bill. And it's a recurrent useless expenditure.
Okay. Let's because of time, really, a lot of people have listened to your policies, but I just want to get you clear on subsidy. I know you're ready to ask me a question if we do have the money. So in your particular view, do you think subsidy is a way to go, especially on fuel? And then also, if Zambians was to give a mandate to, take the affairs of the country in 2026, are you from here telling us that, when you form government, you're not going to consider subsidies?
Subsidies are always important. If you remember, after Zambia's program was approved by IMF, it was very interesting. The same man, the managing director of IMF, issued a statement urging African countries or developing countries to maintain subsidies on energy, which is fuel and electricity, and agriculture. Subsidy are part and parcel of economic management, but they must be smart. And they must not be distortion. I can tell you, for example, we have a subsidy in agriculture called Farmer Input Support Program. But that cannot resolve our farming issues. What we need there is sustainable financing. And that's why in our manifesto we're very clear. If we went to the government, we will start an agricultural bank that provides agricultural loans, because we don't have such a facility in this country. These banks are not wired to provide agricultural financing, because agricultural financing is unique. Agriculture takes a long, you cannot get a loan today and start paying tomorrow. It requires appropriate grace periods, appropriate interest rates, and so on. If you're going into livestock, they must give you a grace period of 18 months or 2 years. If you're in a crop, a grace period of 1 year or 1.5 years, so that you can have a cycle for you to pay back. So there are policy positions. Is there money for that? Yes, there's money for that.
Why
you don't need to increase the budget. Expenditure switch. Remove the money from
traveling.
Yes, and other expenditure lines. I can show you here if I had the budget here. Just check the budget on the expenditure. Government put, for example, 1 billion kwacha especially on social spending. One of the problems the government here has made a mistake is they have front-loaded social spending, and little money is going to the economy. There is, for example, we have farmer input support program. No problem with that. And you have money going also to farmer input support program. Go to the expenditure. I'll show you the problem. Just there. You don't need to increase the budget. Just switch the expenditure. Yeah, as we find it, I'll show you.
Yeah.
You go to community development. There is so much abuse.
Is it this one?
Yes. Is that expenditure? Yes, expenditure by function. Whoa, oh yeah. You can go up. Yeah, yeah. Right down there. Have you seen it? Social cash transfer. Have you seen?
Yeah.
How much?
This is
4 billion.
4 billion, yeah.
Public Service Pension Fund,
3
3 billion. No problem. Just spending all the Food Security Pack, 1.2 billion. For what? Under means of community development. For what? You have farmer input support program there, and then you have food security pack in the means of community development. The Ministry of Community Development has no capacity and the expertise to run an agricultural program. Because the same poor people are catered in FISIP, the same poor people are catered in social cash transfer. Why don't you transfer that 1 billion and put it in an agricultural bank? You have 100 million, over 100 million kwacha in each province for access to financing. You will have agriculture like you have never seen in this country. If this government has done that, by the second year, we're going to have a lot of production of food. Maize, beans, cowpeas, sunflower. We can produce anything, not only for staple food, but also for nutrition and for exports. We are doing nothing in agriculture. Our expenditure there. Apart from the high wage bill, look at that misplacement. What is that food security pack doing? 1.2 billion. Then go up there. Go up there. You put money, access to financing. What young people want now? Go there, access to empowerment funds. Have you seen? Yes, which is a CEC.
Yeah.
Why President Mwanawasa and MMD brought back empowerment funds? Because we had destroyed financing institutions left by UNIP. And there was a realization that no, we have destroyed the grassroots economy, the farmers and everybody. So the Citizen Economic Empowerment Fund was brought to replace the old institutions that were brought down by the same MMD. The idea was that's why it was called Citizen. The citizens are not participating in the economy because of lack of access to financing. Go and check the presentation in Parliament. No, I want to say something there. It's so critical. Angel. Why President Mwanawasa brought the CEC, and that's why it was called Citizen. The citizens have no access to capital. Why there are foreigners running all these big things that they have access to money from where they come from, which is cheaper. The economy now is being overtaken by foreigners because they access cheaper financing from their countries. It's not because they're intelligent. No. They're accessing cheaper money there at 2%.
And that's not the case with Zambians.
How much is interest in the bank? 30%. The only institution, DBZ was charging commercial interest 30%. That's why all the projects there went down. It's not people failed to pay. How can you pay back at 30%? Are you dealing with drugs? And you rush there to go and close the bank. The causation is the interest rate. That was not a development financing. Development financing must have reasonable interest rates. That's why as a CEC, which is the only development financing wing, they charge interest of 12%. Grace period 6 months. That was Mwanawasa's architecture to bring back what they had brought down. But look at the allocation, 391 million. And you take 1 billion for food security pack under community development when you are also putting 4 billion for social cash transfer to the same people. So you have a multiplicity of intervention to the same poor people. But poverty is not reducing. Poverty, Angel, will be reduced by increased production. Our people are not lazy.
Not taking money to
I've heard some politicians saying that. I've heard some politicians, Zambians are lazy. That's an insult. Any politician saying Zambians are lazy is insulting Zambian people. Yourself in government, you are hard working for what? You are getting a salary for what? Driving that big vehicle, what are you doing? Just reading newspaper and traveling. And you think you work hard? Because they have given you a big salary. That's why you are managing to do those things you are doing. Let's also give Zambian people, they are ready to work. These marketeers, these people want to farm, the graduates want to go in enterprise. Give them access to financing. If I was in government, we are going to move that 1 billion, take it to CEC. Immediately, we're going to have 1.5 billion in CEC. In fact, in our manifesto, we are saying that 10% of the budget must go to access financing. Our budget this year is about 177 billion.
Yeah.
We're going to put 17 billion into access to financing, you will see entrepreneurial ecosystem we have never seen. Will create 1 million jobs.
Not that Zambians are lazy.
Which Zambian is lazy? Even the one who's saying the Zambian is also lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who got the money by discover? Did you discover anything? Did you discover Microsoft? For Zambia, there's no one who has discovered anything here. They got money through a government intervention, and we must continue to intervene as government.
Because of time, I
Yes.
will have to move on.
This was the most important. I thought we must look at the picture. So at the numbers, we don't need to increase the budget. We can even reduce it to lower than that.
Yeah.
But just put money where there is production.
We
need to put up production. I've told you, no increasing the total budget there. Just move money where it matters.
Yeah.
If UPND had done that in the first year, second year, by now, people are going to say, yes, we voted right. But there were no reforms in the public sector. There are no reforms on the budget. This template is an old, outdated template. Go and check this budget over 10 years. We are repeating the same budget lines, which are redundant and do not address the root cause of our problem. Let's redo this budget.
Let's quickly. I would like also to. I would have
So
loved you to comment on CDF, but then looking at time, and we'll have to bring in callers. Maybe for CDF, I think let's replace.
Let's continue. I'll be brief.
Yes, I could have you maybe in your closing remarks on CDF, but let's also get to the cost of milli-mill. I would like to get your perception. I would like to get your lens on how you are seeing this whole issue of milli-mill prices. Because to a Zambian, 2021, they'll promise that you're going to buy a milli-mill for 50 kwacha when we come into government. Let's
for me, the issue of 50 kwacha is not an issue we must debate. Let's go to the fundamentals.
It's not doable.
Yes.
Okay, let's get to the fundamentals then.
That statement was unnecessary. From an economics point of view, it was a wrong statement to make. It was not feasible.
So it was a lie.
Tell me, who can grow maize so cheaply? The farmers, now I'm a farmer myself, have moved away from maize because we're exploiting maize farmers.
How are they exploiting you?
The price is too low. What attracts anybody to work, even people? You rush to work at Bank of Zambia or Zambia Revenue Authority or this bank because they have high salaries. So which Zambian must be growing a cheap thing?
Okay, give us your fundamentals on the minimum prices.
Yes. Yeah. So the minimum price is not standing in isolation. One, Zambia's problem, fundamentally, is an incomes problem. Because the majority of Zambian people are living below the poverty datum line.
Yeah.
Minimum becomes so important because it becomes the only survival line. Living on starch. Living on starch. That's how we have dehumanized our people. Very little protein, which is important. No one is talking about groundnuts, which are important. This young man, he came to pick me at my place to come here, and he found me eating some. So there was maize and groundnuts. Maize with all the roughage, groundnuts with all the protein. I don't eat funny things. You look at my skin. I eat very simple, but it's balanced. It's simple. Now, people must be talking that we need to have enough protein in our homes beyond the minimum. So it's an agricultural problem. So agriculture, why it's important is that the money we are making from mining must be pushed towards diversification. The economic diversification has failed in all governments. In fact, you need only made a bigger attempt on diversification. That we need other sectors to come out. One of the key sectors, the initial cranker,
agriculture.
The initial cranker is mining, of course.
Mining, yeah.
It begins at forex. With the macroeconomic stability and a strong exchange rate, we can now easily begin to invest in agriculture. But the money, every time we get the money from mining, it begins to feed the bureaucrats. These guys driving VXs in a poor country. Not even Japan drives VXs in their government. How dare such a poor country, a minister can drive a VX? How dare? How dare? Go to Botswana, where you find a VX in the government, apart from the presidency. Choices. You are overdriving your poverty. You get my point?
Yeah.
So the minimum price is an overall economic problem because about 70% of our people are involved in agriculture. So if you make agriculture work, you will have addressed many problems. Number one, Angel, we've addressed the poverty. We've addressed access to food and employment. So our lack of investment in agriculture, in the rural economy, is the cause of this suffering. People are saying leave town to go and do what in the village where there's nothing happening. They must also leave themselves. To go and do what in the villages where agriculture is not working. There's no access to financing. Infrastructure is bad. We are consuming the money here. If you want people to go to the village, let the money also go to the village. Deal with the rural road like Honda was doing. Give access to financing. Young people are now ready to go and grow high value crops in Mukushi, in Mpongwe, in Kasempa, everywhere.
Yeah.
In Kawoma, in Nyimba, in Kawambra, in Mpika. They are ready, but there's no access to financing. The roads are poor. So open up, and people are ready to go. What is here? Who wants to live in Lusaka, which is Korela? Infested. People want to go and live in fresh areas, but they must go with the means. So the issue of meeting my brother here is a failed agricultural policy. There are a few elements to reboot our agriculture. Let me run through. Number one,
quickly. Yeah.
Access to financing.
P1.
P1. Two, access to modern extension services to understand the new trends in agriculture. Three, access to markets. In this country, we have FRA. FRA is not a marketing agency. It's for food reserve. Zambia needs to bring back a new number. In our manifesto, we are very clear. One, if we came into office, we shall immediately, first year, open an agricultural bank. Shift some of that money into an agricultural bank. Because the real farmers, these young people, want financing. What is FISIP? FISIP is just to have enough food for your household. People want to make money. You can't make money out of FISIP. So want agricultural financing so that these people can make money and begin to export, improve the forex inflows. If we came into government, we will immediately open the new number, the new one called Commodities Exchange. When you grow your crop through warehousing, whether you are in Kasempa, in Kawoma, in Nyimba, in Kawambra, I'm talking about these big agricultural places, Mukushi, Mpongwe, Chisamba, Chongwe. All you do is that you grow your cowpeas. These are good crops. They don't need fertilizers. Your beans, your sunflower, your maize. Now there's technology. You can make it. In my village, we make cooking oil. We don't buy. We grow sunflower and make it. It's cheaper. There's now access. There's now cheaper technology to do that. At the household level. You understand, eh?
Yeah.
So these farmers, you take your crop to the warehouse, engine, push in, they grade it and give you a paper that will pay you after, say, for example, 45 days. And these guys will find a market, whether it's in South Sudan to feed refugee camps, whether it's in the Congo and so on. You need a marketing agency, a marketing highway. That paper you are given is as good as money. We can create a second currency based on the commodities. Yeah. This does not require money.
I'm looking at all these. This could be maybe, put in the bracket of long term.
First year.
Short term.
First year.
Let's say, for instance, you're caught up in this situation where a bag of mealie meal in some areas is fetching for as high as 300 kwacha. And
for now,
230. What would be those immediate
there's a shortage. For now, into 1 year, increase imports. So there's enough mealie meal if it is no maize.
So that's the route you would take.
But if there's no maize in the country, people can die. While you do in 1 year, if you do all these things, if government had done the right thing last year, into this year by harvest season, this problem was going to be over. But I can tell you, agricultural production will go down now because they haven't put the pillars of increased agricultural production.
Okay, let's get a
so one of it is increase production.
Yeah.
Temporarily. Okay, no, not temporarily. Increase imports.
Yeah.
And we can close exports temporarily because exports again in the future we need them to grow agriculture.
Yeah, for business.
You get my point, eh?
Yeah.
So our people, 70% must be involved in agriculture. If they are involved in agriculture and they are given the incentives and the facilitation, they will have the maize.
Okay.
So this, they could be short term and a long term. But the goodness of agriculture, you can sort out this problem in 1 year.
Okay, let's get to the phone lines. The number is 095 6200 490. Good morning. You're through to the program.
Yes, my brother. Morning.
Yes, very quickly, your name and where you're calling us from?
Thank you. Much pleasure to Shakira Key to it.
Yes, go ahead with the contribution.
Why? The portion of President Hamududu.
Yes, how are you, sir? Yes, sir.
because abantu bareparanya tibeti nabamututu abanga bakaini kuchalo kutumi utobuno bwino kuchena imundi babusinga bakainde nangu kan
Okay.
kutia tuwe paranya na bakainde
Alright.
abantu wale tero kuba akainde oyo tawo teta tete charo.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much for your contribution,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Washimalan from Kitwe.
Okay.
Yes. The number is 095 6200 Let's just get about 5 calls and then we wrap it up. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Good day, sir. How are you?
Very well. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Good. Mr. President, how are you?
I'm well, and you, sir? And how is the morning?
All right, thank you.
Mm.
Yes, your name. We haven't got your name. All right, Mr. Chancellor, go ahead with the contribution.
Yes. Potential of this happens which we are here, so much more than what is happening on the ground. What is the government in divert that money to for CDF, then they subsidize on fuel, and we see on how much maybe we can subsidize. And then two, what is your take on the issue of the engagement of the certain group for importation of what? GMO milling to Congo. Is there any benefit for the Congo Zambia?
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution. Good morning. You are through to the program. Your name and where you're calling us from? Oh, this is Bashimalan. The one that called earlier was Bashi Precious. You've got same voices. Okay, go ahead with the contribution.
Good morning, my brother, and how are you? Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your contribution. Let's get another caller. The number is 095 6200 That's 3 submissions. Let's get 2 more so that we also give you enough time to respond to the contributions. 095 6200 Let's get this caller. Good morning. You are through to the program.
Hello.
Yes, your name and where you're calling us from? Yes, within 60 seconds, please go ahead with the contributions.
Yes. Congratulations to the honorable here. My question is, why did you enter into politics? Why you went into politics? Why I ask you this question? Because my politician interest here, you just go to politics to make a name and think yourself. So this is what is happening. After some kind of money, but you can drive in city, you forget the citizens. As a result, Zambia is getting poorer, and you politicians, you are getting richer and richer. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution, Mr. Tembo. Great to know that Chongwe is listening this morning.
My favorite Chongwe.
Yeah, Chongwe. 0956200490. Let's get the last caller. Whilst we are waiting for our last caller, we can squeeze in a text message here. It says, good morning, Honorable HH. What is your take on the Barossa land issue? All right, asking about your take on the Barossa land issue. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from? Yes, your name and where you're calling us from? Yes, Brother Morgan. Within 60 seconds, please, you can go ahead with the contribution.
Okay. That's what to say. That's what to ask Hamududu. We should have to go to understanding of things. You also advise the president.
Okay.
So that your points. I think we just to be honest. Yes, but the second thing which we should have acted quickly that is something to us. There are a number of things which really just after coming into power, you should have attended to them quickly.
Yeah.
But they have taken long, and the situation now has become more like a bit has gone out of hand. So my question is, do you advise the president or you just stay away?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Morgan, for your contribution. Just to make it 6 there, Mr. President. This one on Facebook. Marvin Kafula says, good morning. Sounds in the studio. I'm Marvin watching from Lusaka. My question is, why can't government subsidize fuel so that life can become cheaper? Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, Marvin, for your contribution. Mr. President, we do have 6 minutes to wrap.
Okay.
To wrap up. So
sure.
You can, respond to those.
So let me start from the bottom.
Yeah.
So Marvin, I think the fuel price is really is becoming something else. Yes, subsidies are very expensive, but government can still consider smart subsidy.
Mm-hmm.
You can put a trigger point that beyond 30 kwacha, the subsidy is triggered. Because beyond 30 kwacha really, it is just now increasing the cost of living even higher and higher. So there should be room for a subsidy. Government must not shut up completely from a subsidy. Suppose now with the poor exchange rate and suppose the international oil price also go up, will Zambians manage a 50 kwacha per liter fuel? Then the economy will collapse. I heard someone here that going to the copper belt, okay, let's say to Dakonde, is how much? 900. To go to Mongo is what? 600 something? Say sheke, 700. Just not normal. Children will fail to come to school. Can a parent in Shangombo, Sioma, manage to get 700? We employ some children from Sioma at our office, and they tell us the reality on the ground.
How is it?
Oh, no. We are talking of young people who are working at our office as gardeners. We got people from right to the village to give employment from Sioma, right as you go to Shangombo. They are the ones who are feeding their parents. So when you pay them that allowance, then they share with the parents. The homestead in Mutuamena there, in Isioma. That's how bad things are. You go to Sikongo. People are marrying off their children just to get something. Young girls are being exploited for marriage, for a family to survive. That's worse than slavery. This is modern day slavery has come back in this country out of the economy. And therefore I agree with Marvin and another colleague, Mr. Chansa, that there is room for a subsidy. Government should take austerity, cut traveling, cut some allowances, let these brokers suffer with the Zambian people. And I know there is a lot of money that can be rescued from these outrageous conditions in the civil service. You can cut a lot of unnecessary positions, so-called commissions, useless things that are going on. You can cut that and save money, and you can put subsidy during this period until we resolve the issues of Mopane and KCM, when we can increase production. Maybe by next year or end of this year, production can start going up. Once we have better copper exports and more foreign exchange inflows, the fuel price will come down because the exchange rate will have strengthened. But during this time of adverse foreign exchange, government must consider a subsidy. Why? They increase the fuel prices. Is itself again worsening the exchange rate. Why? Industry is collapsing.
Mm-hmm.
We have heard now from Trade Kings that one of the big industrialists, which are basically Zambian, okay, it's a Zambian, authentically Zambian company. They are complaining because some of their concentrates are imported, and therefore they are also they might reduce employing people. They might reduce exports. So the manufacturers, the industries, are also being affected by the increased fuel prices. So there should be a point where government should not allow the fuel price to go up. So a subsidy or a way must be found out. We cannot proceed with the continuous increasing. This level of fuel prices, the economy cannot take it. Okay, so I've answered these two questions.
Yeah.
And then Morgan said, advising the president. It's very true, Morgan, that the UPND government, when they came in, they did not sit down to address the underlying problems. Some of these are legacy problems coming from different governments. Some of the problems we are having now, they started in MMD through PF. And that's why Zambians were changing governments so often. They want us to address the legacy problems. One of it, this sponge, this amoeba called the public sector wage bill, where the government are consuming all the money, and you go to Chinsali. Is that a provincial capital? Huh? Have you been to Sikongo? Have you been to Ikereng? Is that a town? How dare these chaps are eating the money in Lusaka here? This is why people are changing government. When you hear people talking about Barosland, they want decentralization. Mongo now, Western Province is poorer than it was before independence in terms of cost of living. The first educated people were in Western Province. They were functioning schools in terms of quality, not just the free things. Quality. What is there now? You get my point, eh?
Yeah.
So there is no development happening in the hinterland because we have an ineffective and a government system that only takes care of itself. 50% of the budget remains on personal emoluments. Go and check Mauritius or and check Botswana. Okay? So, but that's the issue. This issue must be left between government and the Royal establishment. Government must dialogue. This issue, government must dialogue. And any government must address these people. So dialogue is the best way out of this Barosland issue.
Yeah, we have 20 seconds to
and finally, entering politics. Matembo, if we don't enter politics, we leave it for who? You can't say that because one marriage is bad, then marriage must be stopped. No. My friend, there are even people who we don't encourage divorcing, who divorce and marry another person, and then finally they marry the right person. And also, if there is a bad marriage within your family, you can't tell people that don't marry because your brother's marriage is a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
As we conclude.
Yeah. Yeah, so subsidies is possible. We can also move money from CDF.
Okay, yeah.
Some money and other expenditure lines.
Yes.
But I think a cheaper subsidy will have a better impact than even a CDF, which is poorly managed. ZNS.
Yeah.
Well, I think it could have been smart to give even a food reserve agency, in the absence of a marketing agency, to do this function of importing.
Okay.
As to their contract in Congo, if it's there, it's good for Zambia to have a contract to supply because they make a markup. But this must not disrupt local consumption. Because Zambian people need access to cheaper food.
All right, Mr. President, thank you so much for making it through to today's edition of Chatback. It was a pleasure hosting you on this platform.
Angel, it is a pleasure, and I look forward again to this interaction, and to you, the listeners and the viewers. Good to see you again. We will now be talking.
All right. Everybody that called, texted, Facebook, thank you so much. Great to know that you're with us. Up next is the news, and then we do have Wednesday's edition of Lifestyle with Chipo. Good morning.
There are a lot of questions on your Facebook.
Even here, even here, we really ran out of time.
No, what we'll do is that, but it's so good. Your questions were really structured.
Yeah.
But since we were not here for some time,
yes,
it required.
Yes. Okay, can you just look into the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And then just one more. I'd like you to stand just close to this question so that and we'll share these photos with you so that you can also post them.
Yes, I will.
On Christian.
Yes.
Okay.
To 9,000. 555.
Okay.
53 weight.
Okay.
From 9,000.
Okay, the last one.
157 party for 100.
Wonderful. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
President.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Just send them now so that I share them.
Most definitely.
You know, Morgan is a UPND.
Oh, you know him?